Hello, how are you? Hope you're having a great day. We are here for English language practice, and as the title says, if you've got any questions you want to answer or you want answered, well, you can ask me. I can't guarantee I have an answer, but I can try and answer. Uh, I don't know everything, of course, like anyone and everyone. But if you want to practice some English, practice speaking today about whatever, you're more than welcome to join. Ask your questions in the chat, or come on and speak if you want to. Otherwise I'm just going to rabbit on. I'm just going to talk about stuff. I've just been searching. The idea is that we're speaking whatever opportunity we can. I think that's really important, and I try to promote that to my students all the time. So that's what we're here for. And if we can't think of anything to talk about, I mean, I personally think that I think there's always something that could be talked about. I guess it's a question of what comes to mind. But one thing you can do, there's lots of things you can do, but one thing you can do is to have a look at something like this. And this is called, it's actually a website called On This Day. And in this case, well, where I am anyway, I think in most places around the world at the moment, it's the 31st of January, 2024. And so this website is telling us about things that happened. Now I'm skimming through here, and I don't really know much about what's happened, to be honest. I don't know, but it's something you can look at. The idea is inspiration. So when you want to talk about something, you go, what is the inspiration today? What could be something to talk about? And of course, if you're looking at something other, like say for example here. Now I'm Australian, and I don't know too much about a lot of these things are like US, UK, and Europe, and that sort of thing. But like for example, 1849, corn laws abolished in Britain. So if you wanted to, you could, of course, Google or search or whatever. What were the corn laws? In fact, let's do that. So let's go here and go against the backdrop of a strained post-war economy. I'm not sure which war that was, but anyway, Tory Prime Minister Lord Liverpool passed the Corn Laws in 1815. These laws placed tariffs on cereal grain imported from other countries, such as wheat and maize or corn, to favor domestic. Okay, so basically tariffs. So okay, well that makes sense then, isn't it? Because that's literally corn. Okay, so the corn laws. So what actually happened here? So the corn laws were abolished. Okay, so these came in 1815. It says here, and then if we switch back over here, in 1849. So there we go, 34 odd years that they were around. And if you wanted to talk about that, if you like economics, stuff like that, that could be something that you could talk about. But the question is, what do you want to talk about? But like I say, this sort of thing can just be inspiration for ideas of topics that like to talk about. Like even looking at these things, 1855 Western railroads blocked by snow. Now, obviously, back in the day, this must have been a big thing, but I don't know how big a thing. But I guess well, I guess this would have been like early days of the railroads as well. So maybe it was something notable. I don't know if this is Western railroads in the US or in Europe or where they're talking. I guess they could be the only ones really. But anyway, it's a lot of I guess this is an American website because well, it's either American or UK because there's a lot of that seems to be the history that's talking about here. Oh, here we go. 1865, Congress passes by a vote of 121 to 24 the 13th Amendment abolishing slavery. So there you go. That's okay. 1865. It's worth considering, I guess, when you compare to other countries when slavery was abolished. Now that would have been that's sort of like Abraham Lincoln time because I guess because he is when they credit Abraham Lincoln with abolishing slavery, is it just because he was the president at that stage of America or of the USA, or was it because he was he actually had like a strong push, let's say, to get rid of those laws, let's say. But it's an interesting thing. I assume I assume because we often hear about his speeches and stuff, but I'm assuming it's something that he had a big push for. Although it's an interesting thing, isn't it? Because a lot of times you can have basically credits given to the person who's in power. It's like when you see lots of these awards, like with I know, like in like say, well, the Commonwealth countries, that you get like the Queen or the King's honors lists and stuff, where people have like a knighthood or like letters after their name and that sort of thing. A lot of those things, not always, but a lot of them are given to people who were who had the power to control something. So we're in the leadership position, but not necessarily the people who were actually doing the actual activity. I guess it's an interesting question to ask. Should more credit be given to someone who gives permission, someone who signs something, or someone who actually does the I guess the hard yards? We could say, what do you think? What do you think? I don't think that's I don't know, but I guess through history that's always been the case anyway, hasn't it? And I guess that's even like if you've worked in companies, I'm sure you've seen occasions where some sort of leader or boss gets credit for something within meetings. So they'll say they thank the person and then they thank the team. But the credit goes to the person and the bonus generally goes to that person. So I guess it's an interesting thing to consider. But anyway, that was my thoughts about that. What do you think about that? Remember, if you want to practice any English conversation, if you want to have a chat about anything, we're here to answer any questions or to practice speaking. If you want to jump on, let me know. If you want to practice, you want to have a chat in English. If you have a question, you can do the question spoken or in the comments, or we can just chat about stuff, whatever stuff is on your mind. I think that's the beauty of, if you're in a position where you're practicing English and you're looking to learn English, when you have like freer sorts of, I guess, activities where, you can sort of talk about whatever you want. In some ways, it should be more of a relaxed feeling. I hope it would be more of a relaxed feeling compared to if you're, say, at university, or in a workplace situation where you need to, you're given a specific topic, perhaps, that you need to talk about. Um, there's advantages and disadvantages to both. I guess sometimes if you aren't given a topic, then it can be a problem. You go, oh, what am I going to talk about? But this is exactly the point, is uh, to practice talking about stuff that you know comes to mind. And again, that's why, if we're looking for inspiration, things like, this sort of a website can be useful to think of ideas that you may want to talk about. But just talking about what's happened, the basics, I think. You tell me what you think. I think the basics are, you should be able to explain who you are. So, for example, like a little bit about your life, what you do, if you work or you study or you look after the family home, or you're raising kids, or whatever the situation may be. Just explain a little bit about your life. And then just to be able to explain day to day situations and activities. So what have you done today? What did you do yesterday? What's coming up in the future? I think are the basics, and then the additional layer to that is to give opinion about that. The only thing you can control is what you produce. You can't control anything that anyone tells you, but you can control what you produce, and that's why I promote as much as possible for people to speak and write as much as possible, because that's what you can control. And you can't control what other people say, how people say things. There's a mutual responsibility in terms of when you're having a conversation, to try and have other people understand, uh, to speak to and with your audience. But yes, I guess all different sorts of things to consider. Now again, lots of these things here are very American or um, European English, that sort of thing. Um, so I don't know. I guess it depends what you're interested in. You know, if you're in Europe, these things may be very, very important, and it's worth discussing these bits of history. I guess could also be discussing, imagine if it's like 2030. If it's 2030 now, what what do you think the world is going to look like in 2030? Um, I'm trying to think of this. I mean, of course, all of these things are interesting and good in their own way. And if you can get explanations, I'm not sure with all of these they don't all cut through, so you can't find. So maybe that's something that could be better with this website. But yes, it's a nice thing. It's nice, but then again, it's a good thing to have easy access to stuff, but it's also good that you have to work for things. It's the same like if again we're talking about English language learning. It's the same sort of thing. If you know how you in a book, you can have lots of sentences prepared and you just fill in a couple of words here or there. Or you can get lots of free PDFs on worksheets and things like that. I always think, I mean, certainly there's a benefit in the sense of, you know, you don't have to do as much uh, with that, but there's also, I think, a good argument to having to do things because that's part of the learning process. Maybe some people might say, well, those other things that are already prepared are the easy things. Um, but I don't know. I'm not sure. I strongly think it's a great thing when students. It's like we've seen on other days when if you look at an article, I always think it's a good thing to you know when you read through an article, then you always got to do something. Not always. You should generally do something with it if you want that to be something beneficial for your learning. If you just want to enjoy it, okay, no problem. And enjoy stuff. Enjoy music and recordings and movies and all sort of stuff. Absolutely enjoy it. But if the actual purpose is to if the purpose is to gain some sort of language ability through that practice, I would strongly encourage to do more things. So say you've read an article, I would try and summarize it. I would pick out different pieces of grammar. Think about, okay, why have they used that there? Could there have been any alternatives in terms of what they've presented? So maybe they've used past simple, but maybe they could have also presented the same information in present perfect. Perhaps the situation may be there, and it's something to, not for every single sentence, of course, but just like here and there. You just pick out some different things, and you practice it casually, and then from that, I would be summarizing what you've understood. I would be giving an opinion about what I've read from the article. I might express, other opinions that people may have from different points of view. I think that's a good thing as well. You could be playing devil's advocate and that sort of thing. If you have people around, that's a very good situation to play devil's advocate, as long as people understand you are playing devil's advocate. Sometimes people take things a little bit too far when they get offended with discussions. But yes, it's certainly a good thing to practice trying to think of different points of view. A, from the sense of that you're thinking about those different points of view, but B, you're also thinking about how do I express those points of view. And then obviously you have the counter arguments for that. With that as well, you can also be thinking of questions and answers, particularly, of course, the questions. So if you see an activity where you're doing an English exercise and you've got a whole bunch of questions that you're supposed to be answering, I would suggest, prior to looking at the questions, see if you can write your own questions. I know a lot of times you'll have activities where you're reading something and the teacher will go, oh, okay, read through these questions and then have a read and answer the questions after that. I just don't think that's realistic. I don't think that's necessarily real world. It could be real world in some situations, but not most of the time, I would say. I think generally speaking, like say for example, if it's a sporting event, you might want to go, oh, what's the score, or who scored, or something like that. So then there's a specific thing you want to listen for, because there's an answer that you want to get. But a lot of the times, if you just say switch on the TV, or you're opening a newspaper or magazine or something, you don't necessarily know what's going to be presented. So you don't know what the questions could be. I mean, the general questions are, what's the story about? Okay. But if it's like a specific detail within that article, I don't necessarily think that's generally realistic. So I would read through the story and then suggest preparing your own questions. 2 sets of questions, one set where the answer is in or implied in the text, and a second set of questions that's sort of, I guess, inspired by the text, and maybe, thinking more outside of the text, and bringing in people's perspectives, experience, and that sort of thing. What do you think? What do you think about that sort of style? Is that what you do when you're learning English? Do you do those sorts of things, or do you do other things? I'll be very happy to know about what you do, what activities you find, I guess, more motivating and more stimulating, make you want to continue to learn. I guess that's the counterbalance, isn't it? You want to try and do things that keep you interested, as well. That's why I'm not sure. Is this a weird thing to sort of see there? I'm not sure with that. Okay, see that. Do you often like have a handle on a cup, but you don't use the handle? You sort of like, because I guess obviously that's the way you're meant to be holding it. See there. There you go. I guess that's the way you're actually supposed to be holding it. With the handle. It's a bit tricky there with the green screen sort of stuff, isn't it? But anyway, so but do you find that, I don't know, for some reason I find it more comfortable. I find the handle more of a backup, like a safety. But yes, and that's why, as well. So going back to what I was just talking about, that's why if you find topics that are interesting for you, it's way better. If you actually find the topic, you're not asking the teacher just to find things. Yes, it's going to take a bit of extra effort, but the teacher can't learn for you as well. This is the other thing. You have to actually do the learning. And so if you're spending a little bit of extra time to find something, a topic, a story, whatever that's interesting for you, I think that keeps you interested as well. I think that keeps you interested. What do you think? Are you more motivated when you go to classes or participate in learning activities when the teacher, pops in front of you some random story? Do you think that's interesting? I guess it could certainly be interesting because maybe if you search for things that you're interested in, you may, sort of like social media, you may get the same old stuff all the time. Whereas if you get someone else to bring something in, you can get different sorts of topics, different ideas and stuff to talk about, different subjects. But I think, I don't know, I think people can do that themselves anyway. You can always have this might be a good idea if you haven't done it already. Just like at the beginning of the year sort of thing, just write your own list of, topics or subjects that are interesting for you. Or maybe once a month, let's say like the last day of the month. Imagine you spend, 20, 30 minutes the last day of the month, and you just scour the internet looking for things that you think might be interesting to talk about and discuss. Could be videos, could be articles, could be about books or novels or whatever. I guess you can start like from reading like reviews or forums and that sort of stuff, and then actually get into reading those books, being part of a book club or something like that. and so on. Yeah, and you just make a list, or you add to the list. If you do it every month, you add to the list. And then if you're ever thinking, oh, okay, well, what can I do today or this week or something, you have that list ready made for you. But it's something that you've done. I don't know. I certainly would feel prouder, when I've done something, when I'm responsible for it. Uh, and I don't know. I think it would be the same for you. What do you think? If you've made the effort, sometimes we don't always get the reward that we think from our efforts, but certainly if you make the effort, um, it's going to be, a much stronger, much more consolidated, much more solidifying your foundations and making the foundations bigger of what you know and understand and are capable and comfortable with in English. If you do those things. So what do you think? What do you think? Well, I don't know. That's me. It's almost it's about just over 25, 26 minutes there. That's me going on for half an hour odd, talking about stuff. I've asked a lot of questions, I think. Do you have any answers? Do you have any questions? Um, if you're, and I guess you would be because you're not here now, if you're watching a recording of this and you want to leave any comments, please do. Or, of course, if you want to get in contact, get in contact. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. It's the best thing is when we can help each other develop. And I hope you can develop your English abilities and feel much more comfortable with your ability with English. Well, I hope you feel that, and even more so after we've had any interactions, either written or spoken. Well, I guess, and the opposite as well, like the listening and reading. I guess it's both ways if it's part of a conversation. But I hope it's part of an ongoing process, continual and continuous improvement sort of thing. I hope that happens. It's very look at that, the darkness and the light. Almost like my face is a little bit almost sort of yin and yang right here, isn't it? Because I guess I'm sitting in the wrong direction because I've got the window on one side. I should have the window in front of me. Then I've got the better light situation. I'm sort of like that. What was that video clip? Anyway, some sort of video clip where you got sort of like the two-face sort of thing. But I guess that's actually, it's not uncommon, is it, to find that sort of stuff in movies or music clips and that sort of stuff, where you've got, half darkness and half light, and that sort of stuff. Anyway, that's enough of me rabbiting on. I hope you have a great day. I hope, I hope to hear from you soon. I'm going to leave it there. Have a great rest of the day. As I said, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. Be interactive. Practice your English, please. Have a great day. I'll speak to you next time. Take care. Bye.